Hey everyone! So someone messaged me on Reddit a while ago asking how to get better at camera movement in fight scenes. So I decided I would make a video for you all to watch. Now I'm going to be talking about two different types of movement. One is camera cuts, where you're just cutting to a totally different location on the scene, and then actual fluid camera movement that could be kind of like, if it was a live action film, it'd be like on a camera rig or someone was carrying it or something, just kind of moving along with the characters in a normally paced way, if that makes sense. I'll start off with the camera cuts. You want to use these to clarify, not confuse. So you want to use them for a purpose. You want to make it so the viewer can figure out what's going on better because of the cut. If you're just randomly cutting all over the place with your camera, it's going to be really confusing. The viewer's not going to know what to look at, and it's just not good. So cut only when you need to and use it for a purpose. Some examples of this would be if two guys are fighting, and then all of a sudden the one guy is about to do something, like he's about to pull out a gun or throw a punch or something, then you would focus on that guy, getting the viewer ready to realize, they realize that this guy's about to do something. So the camera focuses on him, he does something, camera focuses on the next character that's going to do something. That way you can kind of clarify what's going on. And maybe if something big is about to happen, like a bomb's about to drop and blow up, you might go to a wide shot. But if you just cut to show one character and then let the camera sit there and then cut to the other character and let it sit there, it's going to be a little boring. So to make the fight scenes more interesting, you can add some actual camera movement. And that brings us to the second type of camera movement, the actual camera moving throughout the scene as if it was on like a camera rig or someone is carrying it or something. This can make the fight scene a lot more interesting and intense, and you can feel like you're a part of it. Rather than if you just have a still shot, it's kind of just like you're a spectator, just kind of from a distance. Now, if you just randomly move the camera around, it's going to look terrible. So how do you get camera movement while making it look good? Well, tracking. So you want to pick something that you want to track, say the main character's head or his hand. Then you want to keep that object in the same place on the screen throughout the fight scene until you cut to another camera view, of course. So, for example, if a guy's throwing a bunch of punches, you could follow his hand, and then it goes back and forth as he punches, and the camera's moving with him. You really feel like you're in that fight scene, and it becomes a lot more real. You do want to use easing in and out with this, but with the example of following the guy's hand, you should be already using easing in and out with his hand. So if you're following his hand that's already easing in and out, then it should be fine. Now, how do you actually make sure it's in the right spot on the camera? Well, there's two ways you can do this: onion skinning or the rule of thirds grid. In Stop Motion Studio, there's this little grid. If you tap that, it'll show this grid. It's usually used for rule of thirds, but if you position the hand on one of those corners or like halfway up and down a line or something, then you can use that to figure out where you need to move the camera. So you move the guy as he throws a punch, and then you just move the camera till the hand is on that same spot on the grid, and so the camera will follow. Now, the grid's not always going to work, so you might want to use onion skinning. Onion skinning is where you take a transparent preview of the last picture and lay it over what the camera's currently seeing. And so you can see where his fist was in the last picture and then line it up to where his fist is now, and then take the picture and then move his fist some more, line it up, and that way you can make sure it's in the right spot. So if you think about your camera cuts and you do some motion tracking, then those two things right there are going to make your fight scenes much better. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and you might want to check out my stop motion course right here.
Why are you still here? Get off my lawn!